Not necessary. All right.
This is why
Zoom is wild out here.
this is why I love podcasting with podcasters, you know what I mean? Nice. Yeah, how are you doing, Rihanna? Can you hear okay?
I can hear. I'm just not like thrilled about it.
Okay.
I don't like it. The earbuds. The earbuds always fall out. I'm gonna put these over just to keep them in place. I don't
That's
like
not
earbuds. Oh yeah, that's the stuff.
Yeah, she's got like tiny, tiny ears, so earbuds never fit
Okay.
in. Like they never go in her ear.
Yeah.
Right. Mine always
Oh,
go in, but then they slowly slide out and pop out. So I don't know.
actually, can you go grab my black ones because they're
Yeah.
bigger and that will hurt a lot less. But it's great. They will stay in that way. Woo! We just did a guest spot a couple days ago, and I had to sit there like this most of the time just to keep them from falling out.
Yeah. And did you guys like share earbuds when I recorded with you?
I think we shared earbuds, like a couple of amateurs.
It's all right. I mean, it takes time to get the setup and everything, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But welcome to Public Access America. My name is Jason. His name is Adam. Her name is Rihanna. They're from Bottled Up Bitches, and we just got together because they finished up their latest season. I'm just gonna go with latest season. You know what I mean? And so I wanted to get together and talk because I wanted to say you guys have the content down. You have the format that the right format. You know, you have the right hosts. You have the right. Adam, are you a co-host?
Yeah, I would say at this point I'm a co-host.
All
Yeah.
right, officially. Thank you.
Officially, I think I got promoted. Yeah.
I love that because I was like, I want to get bottled up bitches on, but if Rihanna's the host, then why is Adam there? He's a producer.
I To be fair, I don't also know why I'm here half the time.
Well, I prefer you as a co-host, yeah. But you have the concept and the format, and now you're just working on the in-house studio. And I like talking podcast with podcasters, you know what I mean?
It's a good time. Get to share all the family trades and secrets.
Yeah, and you moved into a new place, and so you're still setting up. I think I grabbed you like a
Uh-huh.
week after you moved.
Yeah, we're working on it. There's a big fat stack of the sound panels that we'll figure out. We have to buy so many command strips.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I use thumbtacks.
There you
But
go.
but that's cool. So you finished up your latest season. What was it like? I mean, what how does it feel now that it's in the bag?
It feels good. I feel like we learned so much because the format of season one was just so different,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're guest based and always having guests. So we've learned a ton. I know, just production wise.
Hmm.
You were part of that. We had to re-record your whole episode because that had something funky happen there. But it's good. I feel like I have a firm understanding of how we do interviews and how we run the entire new platform. So I'm really excited for season three. We have a lot of professional guests lined up for season
Hmm.
three, and it's not as much as me like relying on the people around me, and it's me
Mm-hmm.
doing a lot of outreaches. And we've had a lot of great people just reach out to us too that are very interested. So I'm excited.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, we went through a lot of
Growing
growing
pains.
pains, but we got there. And yeah, like she said, we have some great guests. Not like some of the schmucks, some of you schmucks we had on for season two.
the guinea pigs. I lo-
Yeah.
Rihanna's a great host. Like, what I always get nervous about recording for the first time because I never know where the conversation's going to go. But Rihanna has this natural ability to go with the flow and stay centered in the topic. So I really like that, you know?
Oh, well, thank you. Gassing me up over here.
Well, no, it's true. And I don't meet very many people that are good at that, you know? That it, I, a lot of people script things to death. And when I've done celebrities or politicians, they want everything scripted and you can't veer from that if something comes up, but you have the ability to stay on topic and go with people, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've learned. I We've been on a guest spot on a few podcasts where it was very scripted, and I was like,
Mhm.
I feel like I learned a thing or two, but also I like that I go into things with more of an idea. Like I always have an idea of what I want the episode to be about based on that person's um, job or that person's,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it links up to sex, I have an idea. And whether it stays on that or not is going to be a whole judgment call, but I know more or less where I want the conversation to go. And it usually gets there naturally, or it doesn't at all. And it's something completely different, but it still made sense. Um,
Right.
yeah, having a general idea is nice, but I don't like going into things with specific questions because then I find they get added in unnaturally and it feels like a weird obligation to ask this question when it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've heard a couple of those episodes you had where I was like, it's not going where I thought she was gonna go with it, but I like this, some of the earlier episodes.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, we like to. I feel like a lot of shows feel more like sketch comedy, like they've got their lines memorized, they know their
Mm-hmm.
spots where they're supposed to hit, and I think we tend to like it be a little more improvised. Like we have the scene, the generality of the scene we're going through, and then we'll just see what happens in the conversation.
Right. People know what your topic is, what your subject matter is, so it's kind of up to them to lean that direction when they're kind of led, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I shouldn't say it, but my episode, the one you did with me, popped up before it was supposed to pop up. And
Yeah,
it
yeah.
it had the word finale, and I was like, "Oh, I like that too." But you don't
When Adam just
necessarily
doesn't know how to spell final.
that
Yeah,
I
I think I misspelled final. Yeah,
We
it's
don't know
happened
what
to us
happened.
like twice. Once in an opposite way. Our provider, like our RSS feed provider, and all that.
Mhm.
I keep scheduling it, and I don't know if like the times are messed up, but it keeps like shifting it by one date. It's done that a couple times, and like at this point, I am double checking, but like yeah, it keeps doing it. But so yeah, yours popped up a day early, and I got a notification on my phone because I
Yeah.
subscribed to our podcast,
Okay.
and it was like, hey, new episode of Bottled Up, and I was like, no, it shouldn't be,
I
and had
saw
to
the
run in
underscore.
there.
I know I saw the underscore in there and I was like, oh no.
Yeah,
And it's funny because although we took it down, it's still in all of our metrics. So it'll say like 8 people listen to that. I was like, oh my God, that's so
Two of
many people.
two of them are me. I felt bad because I tweeted that. But you don't necessarily schedule your shows the way you record them, right? You get shows in the bag. And I love this idea. And I tell people that if you can schedule in advance, if you can record and get them in the bag and schedule them, it makes your life so much easier.
oh yeah, we've
We
we've
typically
had
do
a
that.
harder time the past month or so just with all the like stuff going on in our life,
Uh-huh.
but typically we like to have at least two
Two to
two to
three.
three like ready to go.
Right. And it helps, right? But how do you decide
Absolutely.
do you decide based on the last conversation what the next one's going to be?
No.
No.
No, it's,
You
it's all it's all based on who we're speaking with.
okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. And when I ask someone to be a guest, I have an idea of why I want them to be a guest. And I think I have an understanding of why I want to interview them.
Right.
Um, I don't ever I don't ever schedule someone without understanding what the conversation is going to be about in my mind. I mean, and yours was completely different, which was great. There's quite a few of those where I think the conversation is going to be about this and it's different, but I
Yeah.
still had an idea of why I wanted them on. I don't ask anyone off the street to be on. I'm like, oh, you provide a great perspective. This is something very different about you that other people don't know about or I don't know about. So there's millions of
Right.
other people that are going to learn something. And if there's something you can teach myself or the audience, then I want you on.
There's also sometimes we'll do like maybe to break it up. So I think we had a situation like this last season where we had an episode with Jake, so our Jake episode, and an episode with Jacob, and they were recorded back to back.
Mm.
But we are like, well, maybe we break up the white man perspective a little bit. So we took
Yeah, that's what
an
I was
episode
asking.
that was recorded out of order just to kind of just to break it up. So there are situations like that.
We
Okay.
tried to do most of the season alternating gender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was something you actually, that's what I was asking. In the season-wide conversation, are you trying to get a flow and do you get a guest that's like, oh, that doesn't fit, but that other person did, maybe we'll wait. So there is a little bit of juggling, right? I like that. I don't have that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't get that luxury. It's like record but now I'm doing these shows and I love these. Like I'm trying to give a break to my partner Jeffrey. He's gonna have a busy month. And so by getting these episodes, I give him a half day and then I can do these. I can put these in. Like I just recorded. Oh, it's coming out 2 Thursdays ago. Wait, 2 Thursdays ago recording. Tomorrow. It's coming out tomorrow to us today. And it was with Patrick, who I saw. He's going through Alcohol Anonymous, and he posted something about his sobriety, and I was like, "Do you want to record?" And he was like, "Yeah." And it was a great episode. It was a great episode. It is great. I don't know, past, present, or future. And so I really like, because I saw what you guys were doing, I decided that maybe I could get some in the can too, and promote people that I really want promoted, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I appreciate your show. And then, like, how have you started going out about getting guests, Rhianna?
Um, we've been really fortunate that a lot of our guests have come to us.
Okay.
And also I just stay on social media, and I try and learn more and more about different industries and different sex conversations. And there's someone that I don't want to jinx it, so I won't say their name, but there's someone that does sex astrology, and she has a whole website, and her whole business is coaching sex and leaning on astrological signs. And I'm like, oh, that's incredible, that's amazing, like that's someone I would want to have a conversation with. So
Yeah.
I'll reach out. And same thing with Alice. I loved her art, and I was like, that's such a sex positive experience
Mhm.
and job that she does. I want to have a conversation with her about it. So I think we have enough footing of being a sex positive and not being we're new, but not incredibly, that we're well established enough that people are like, oh, that sounds like it's going to be an educational conversation, a
Yeah.
great point of exposure. But I'll just reach out to people. But yeah, most of the a lot of collaboration. So like Buttery Mails, we did an episode with them, and I was like, I would love to talk to you guys. So
Yeah.
and same thing with you. Like we're doing a little bit of a vice versa, and we just did an episode with Hot Girls Theory podcast, and I'm gonna have them on uh
Wow. They're
for
from
next.
Australia, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. I just went and
Yeah.
listened to their show, and they had somebody that was dealing with disabilities and mental health. And
Yeah.
I reached out to that guest, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to be on my show?"
Oh, you're out
It's
here poaching guests.
Well, I believe in rotating guests, you know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
I like that. And I like, because everybody shares a different perspective, and you can listen to a different podcast, or you can listen to a different guest on the podcast. You can listen to me on your show and you get a totally different Jason than me on my show, you know?
Absolutely.
And that's
Yeah.
what's neat. So I like that. So Hot Girl Theory, I like them. They're from Australia. They have great accents. Yeah. But I
They're
still I
great.
still pick your show over theirs. You know what I mean?
Oh, I
We
appreciate
appreciate it.
that.
Yeah.
Ours are very
I'll let
different.
them know when they're on.
Theirs is very different though. They have conversations just kind of just about anything. They're kind of a anything and everything type of show. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot different, but they're a good time. I'm very excited to have some conversations with them. Um one of the hosts, Indy, she's a full service sex worker.
Okay.
Like immediately I was like, oh, that's a conversation I would love to have, and I would love to be educated on more on that space. There's going to be so many questions from other people as well. So
Oh yeah.
that that was my thought process. Was like, that's what I would want to talk to her about. So that kind of happens with everyone I meet. Was like, what perspective do you have? Of like, or my friend Emily, I was like, she's been on all these apps. I don't know anything about the apps. I was
Mm-hmm.
fortunate enough to never be on a dating app, so I want to learn more about that.
I love that. And well, you've never been on an app because you have an Adam, right?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
what's it like being a co-host with your significant other, with your husband? What's that like? Do you talk about the shows ahead of time? Do you give Rihanna the ability to just do what she wants?
I would say for the most part, yeah. I mean, there are a couple things I may like push back on, but for the most part, it's kind of her show, and however she wants to do it, she does it when she's hosting.
He plays a really good, like, true producer role where I'm like, this is what I want to do. And for the most part, he's like, okay. And sometimes they're a little too scandalous. And he's like, no, not doing that.
Wow.
Um, or we come to a compromise. But
Sure.
something that people may not realize is Adam and I have worked together, gosh, I want to say 3.5 to 4 out of us 7 years of us being together, we've worked together.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so that's how we met. We met working together in the same establishment
And
and
for all different companies, like
different
it just kind of
companies.
kept happening where
Well,
we
yeah.
would leave a company and then one of us would get a job and then drag the other one along with them and just over and over again.
Well, every time you get a job, they're like, "Hey, we have this opening. Like, who do you have? Who's a good person? Like, who's a good person for this role? Like, who's a go-to?" And I'm like, "It's always Adam. Adam's one of the hardest working people I know. I know he's going to get the job done. Like, that's the person I will vouch for any and every day. I'll go to bat for Adam and his work ethic. So I, vice versa, we just drag each other around town.
Okay, but you first saw each other at like medieval times, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was the Green Knight and she was one of the wenches. No, no, it was Buckle. It
We
was
worked at
just
Buckle. We
retail.
worked in, yeah, retail together.
Okay, I love that.
It was a good time.
That I believe.
You've never
And
been to medieval
I've
times.
never
So
been
that
to,
one went
yeah,
right over your head, huh?
no, yeah. I've
Yeah.
never been in medieval times.
you've never been there? Then
No, which is crazy because
where
I
did I
love
hear
the
that
Renaissance
from?
Festival. We
Is
love the
that
Renaissance Festival.
okay?
Maybe.
We dress up and we go every year and we get drunk on mead and he's got his drinking horn right here. He drinks out of his little horn and we get costumes.
Yeah.
He designs for me. He makes me costumes and it's grand.
That is cool. You're such a good husband.
Oh, I know it.
And so, is there any takeaways what are some of your favorite episodes from this season? I'm trying not to talk about season 1, but I'm trying to reference this season as if it is season 1, but that it isn't in case you go either way with it, you know?
Oh, it's okay. By the time this episode comes out, season 1 won't even be available anymore.
Okay. Okay, so
So
I can just call it I've been calling it your latest season.
yeah, whatever works. No harm, no foul. We're pretty open about season 1 as well. We get a few questions here and there about it, and I'm not nervous to talk about it. Um, season 2, though, gosh, your episode was amazing, and
Aw,
I think it was
thanks.
extra great because we got to double dip and have 2 interviews with you.
Right.
So I really felt like the second one, like every conversation we have just escalates to a greater level. So we got done with yours, and I was like, "Oh, that's the titties. That's
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
shit." I was like, "That was a good one." So I loved your episode, and gosh, Jake's. I loved Jake's.
Jake's
Not
was
to be confused with Jacob.
Jake's was really good. I think
They were both great, but I remember that was an earlier one. I want to say Jake's was like our 3rd episode that we had ever recorded, and we're still
Wow.
getting used to this new format. And that one just flowed beautifully. I remember loving it when we got done talking to him.
yeah, and yeah, sorry, I was trying to think
Sean
of
Louis was so
Sean
great.
Louis was a lot of fun and very different for us.
Agreed.
It didn't go like I think where we typically go.
But still got us there.
It still got us
Still
there.
got us
And I
there.
think like it's interesting. One thing I learned from one of the episodes with Jacob's episode, and I remember while we were recording, this was kind of an interesting thing that I learned. While we were recording halfway through, I'm like, this feels boring. Like this feels like a really uninteresting episode. And so we actually, I think
we backburned
we
it for a little
backburned
while.
it a couple times. And then I went in to finally record it and I went
to edit it.
And I said, well, what the hell was I thinking at the time? Because it was actually a really interesting, I enjoyed that episode quite a bit. And so I think I learned, like, I don't know if it's during the recording process, my brain's just in a different mode. So like,
Right.
but it was very interesting to come back and be like, okay, I definitely need to like listen to them. Like recording them is not going to be a good judge of the episode itself.
Correct.
We had a few of those.
Yeah.
I asked you how many times you listen to your episodes, and you were like, I don't. And I was like, no, you.
Well, I listen to them when I edit them. I listen to them to
Right.
edit them. Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's cool. I like that. And I love the episodes that just give you that buzz. Like when you're done, you're like, yes. But then there's other episodes, like the one with Patrick about alcoholism. I was like, I feel like I missed the point entirely.
Yeah.
And then I went back and listened. I was like, there's so much good information in there. wow, how did I not think this was good?
I think it's like easy, and I think we fall in this trap a lot where we go in with this idea of like, here's what we want to talk to. This is a
Hmm.
subject we want to focus on. And if it goes somewhere else, I think
You
like
feel like you did it
you
wrong.
feel like you did it wrong, or you feel like the
Right.
episode was a failure. And it's not until you go back and listen, it's like, oh, it doesn't fucking matter. Can I
Yeah.
curse on your show?
Yeah, of
Sorry.
course.
Okay.
It's the only thing that
It,
wakes our audience up. They're sitting in an
got it. Yeah,
office
we
or
got it.
in a
Hey.
doctor's office and they hear fuck. They're like, hey, yeah, okay.
There we are. It's not until you record it that you're like, oh, okay, it doesn't matter that we didn't stick to the whatever arbitrary subject we had in mind. Like, if it's a good
Right.
conversation, it's a good conversation.
Mhm.
Yeah, that used to frustrate me with Jeffrey because he likes agriculture. Our last episode was about farming, and I had no idea we were going to go that direction. And now I'm suddenly marketing to farmer Twitter. But a lot of people listened, and I'm not quite sure why sometimes some of the subject matter that they tune in for. Because we don't have sponsors, so we don't have to hit goals. We don't have to hit marks of interest. We don't follow the
Mhm.
trends, you know. We talk about what we want to talk about. A lot like you guys, you know. We talk about what we want to talk about, and the outside world can be the outside world, you know. And but
Yeah.
sometimes it takes this tangent and you're like, holy shit. That was real, or that was more open than I thought. And I really
Yeah.
love those moments when I get a guest that's just willing to be open and honest despite the embarrassment, you know? Like your episode with Emily, I just was so surprised how honest and open she was about that stuff, you know?
Me too.
I mean, that was
Yeah. I think we
Like,
both
especially because
we
Emily
both
is my
were.
friend, and I was very surprised. I don't think people. I think people should go back and listen to Emily's episode. Emily's episode was one of our lower episodes, and I was like,
really.
"That's such yeah." I was like, "That's such a good one." Like, people didn't listen to her trailer.
Hmm.
It's one of our lower listened to episodes, but I think it's so good, and I would have her back because like her life has changed tremendously. So now she's almost engaged to someone. She's like super head over heels in love, and they're like traveling the world. They've been to like 3 different countries together.
That's
Um,
so cool.
yeah, she's living La Vida, and I loved where that conversation went about learning about Germany and
Mm-hmm.
about the correlations and differences between sex education
Hmm.
between here and there. I loved Emily's episode. There's a few of those where I'm like, I don't feel like people gave that episode a chance, but it was so good.
Sure.
Yeah, for me it was more of the religious aspect, you know, throwing the
Yeah.
Yeah.
religion into trying to find somebody with morals and values that isn't religious or is, and I was like, it really made me happy that she didn't tune one group out, you know, exclusively. She didn't give up on religion and just say, I'm gonna find a good man. She was trying to find the right balance. I hope she did find that.
He seems like a good one.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like
I haven't gone to they've been traveling so much that I haven't been able to spend a lot of one-on-one time with him, but, she seems happy.
that.
Her family loves him. She took him to the brother's wedding, and he's seen all the family, and he seems great.
I
Yeah.
love that. Congratulations, Emily. And then, so next season, is there any plans for next season? Anything exciting coming up?
There's a few. We're gonna have very sexy horror actress on.
Horror. Yeah. Horror.
Horror,
It,
horror.
Horror.
But she does a lot of nudity. Like her thing is like very intense nudity in these horror movies,
mm-hmm.
these indie movies, and her people reached out to us. She seems amazing. So we're gonna have her on. I'm excited to have both hosts from Hot Girls Theory
Yeah.
Oh,
podcast, and who else are we gonna have on?
Oh. We.
Oh, we have a dominatrix that's gonna be on.
okay. I
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. I feel like it's gonna be a very industry season. Is what it seems
It's
to be.
yeah, a very professional season, and we've got one other big thing that I don't want to like go into too much right now because it's still kind of shaky, and I don't know if it's going to be a part of the next season. I don't know what the time frame is.
We're talking about tease.
Arizona. Yeah,
Tease.
yeah.
Oh gosh.
But
about it.
that may be
It's
more
gonna
season
it's
4.
gonna be season 4.
Season 4. Okay,
But
so
we can tease that we may be part of the Tucson Erotic Art Show.
Wow.
So we're having conversations with them. I don't want to jinx it. If it doesn't work out, it's fine. More power to them. They're still a great association, but they would like to have us part of the erotic art show, and we would like to be part of it. So we're talking about what that looks like, and we're going to spend some time in Arizona potentially next year to be part of the art show.
That would be cool, and you're a part of such a great community that way, you know? That's how you get the guests and get the voice. And you're 18th in Saudi Arabia, right? I just saw that. I just saw that. So you are gaining
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
ground with this, and it surprised me so much that Saudi Arabia was like listening to a sex positive podcast, you know?
Someone made a comment that I didn't quite understand. I'm not gonna lie, the comment section of that one didn't pass the vibe check for me. But someone was like, so they said something similar, but it didn't come off as positive. They were just kind of like, well, that's ironic. And I was like, why? They're like, well, because that place doesn't represent sexual freedom. So that, I'm like, well, I think that's the point. 15% of our listener base is also in India. So like that whole area of the globe is very interested in us, and that it makes sense to me. I'm like, of course, these are probably most likely it's women who don't get to have these conversations with their friends, didn't have sexual education, don't have all the opportunities and flexibility of sex like we do. Of course they're going to want to listen to those perspectives. I'm sure they're living vicariously through a lot of our guests and these situations. Like, these are people that are thirsty for these things, because even if you're raised a certain way, everyone's curious about sex.
Yeah.
Everyone is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no, it doesn't surprise me at all. I think I'm like, oh hell yeah, like this makes me so happy that we're making ground and that we can be a small pillar in someone's life to open them up to experiences or just different personalities. And I'm so thrilled by it.
Yeah, and I think it's exciting that if we can be like some kind of outlet for someone who may not have some kind of sexual outlet in their general life. Like, exciting to play that role for somebody.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I always thought about the show was somebody in the Middle East, a gay person in the Middle East doesn't know there's other gay people out there, right?
Yeah.
And so to suddenly find out that like there's a whole country full of them is just really exciting to be a part of, you know? And I remember getting listens in North Korea and I was like, what's that about, you know? But I'm excited to get these listens in places that don't have those freedoms, but then they can hear we do and that it's normal. And so hearing a sex positive podcast in Saudi Arabia, even if it's a man, you know, that just thinks, am I weird because I want to dress up like a woman? No,
Yeah.
you're not, you know. Okay, don't do it in public, you'll get stoned, but you're not weird, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think like ultimately the goal of not only Bottled Up Bitches but Crooked Bunny in general is so that people know that they're not alone. That
Yeah.
like whatever it is that makes them feel odd or makes them feel, against the grain, whatever term you want to use, like there's a billion of us weirdos just like you out there.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah. I like that. Thank you for that. This happens every episode. You made a point, and I was like, "Ooh, I like that point," but then you kept talking, and I was like, "Ooh, I like that point too."
Happens every day in our relationship. I think I said that to you yesterday. I had something to say, but you just kept talking.
Yeah.
Story of our life. We're men. We try and explain our ways through that.
I think so.
Yeah. Shoot. Man, it was a good point. Anyway, people are embarrassed about who they are, and it's nice to know that they don't have to be, you know. And okay, I figured it out. Here it is.
You got it, Jason. You got
Sometimes people are embarrassed about who they are, and their reaction to the world is a negative one in advance because they think they're going to be judged. And so hearing shows like yours or even ours lets them know that they're not going to be judged and they don't have to pre-attack, you know what I mean? And so that's where I wanted to go with that. For all of the listeners, if go listen to Bottled Up Bitches because they're a sex positive podcast, and then you'll learn you're not weird. Maybe you are. It's okay.
You are weird, and it's okay.
We don't kink shame in this house.
No, I
That's
mean
what's
this is very much not the same as, being gay or trying to live whatever in some kind of LGBTQ plus lifestyle. But to your point, and I grew up very much feeling like the outcast. I was this super nerdy guy into like these very geeky things. And when I was in school, like the nerd thing, Marvel wasn't these big picture movies that
important.
that we have. It was still like you were still kind of shunned for being into nerdy things, and I felt very much alone growing up, and alone like even in my family. Like I just never felt like I belonged, and it did make me kind of angry at the world, and almost like you said, almost get defensive preemptively. Like, well, I'm gonna lash out before you have a chance to lash out at
Right.
me. And it wasn't until I moved to College Station, Texas, and stumbled into a gaming store and became part of a community that accepted me. And like, they were like, oh, yeah, we're all fucking weird nerds too. And like, I felt like I had a family. So I think for me, that's kind of what I want to do in life is help people understand and give people maybe a family that they have a hard time finding.
Wow. I can't. Okay. Y- Okay. Rihanna, you've never. You feel like you said you feel like a nerd, but look at the woman next to you. She's gorgeous. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
yeah, you can get a hot babe and be a nerd
yeah,
for sure.
nerds win in the end.
Nerds win in the end.
I didn't know how to say that platonically.
You don't have to.
Okay. But I'm imagining you've never felt like that, Rihanna. You
Well,
look
like an
like you were
outcast.
like, yeah, you look like you were always the cute popular girl that got what she wanted with a smile, you know?
Oh,
No, you're
geez.
looking at two freaks and geeks.
No, not the case.
No.
No, I was very much bullied in school, and for fourth grade through my freshman year in high school, I lived in a very racist town where I was the brownest thing they ever saw. So I had to deal with a lot of racism and from students, from teachers. I spent most of my freshman
Wow.
year in like solitude and literally solitary. They would write me up for random things and put me in a room with kids that are like stabbing people because they were just like,
Wow.
well, you were on your phone in the hallway, and I'm like, well, then give me detention. Why am I getting put 3 days in school suspension? So my mom was like constantly at the school going to bat for me because I was in marching band, and then they were like, we're gonna do cuts this year, and everyone's like, we've never done cuts in marching band. We're a town of like 1,000 people. There's 40 people in this band. We barely qualify to compete. Why are we doing cuts? And they're like, we just want to make sure we're the best we can be. And I was the only one cut. And
Wow.
I was a baton twirler, so I wasn't even supposed to march. So like cutting me did nothing. They just didn't want me there. They just didn't want me there. They didn't want me on the field.
'Cause you
I
were
made people uncomfortable.
'Cause you were brown?
Yeah, because I'm Mexican.
Wait a minute.
That,
Oh wow, you are. Okay.
that
I go by voice, and I don't
Yeah.
know. The same I was married to a little 4'8" Filipino girl, and she would say, "I can't believe the looks we're getting." And I'd always be like, "From who? Where?" What is weird about this? So, does that happen in Texas
we get a
now?
lot of shit because of our height. And I also
Ah.
look very young. So like I'm turning 27, but I'm 4'11". I've got a very young face. And
Mhm.
Adam once had someone come up to us and he was like, what did he say? He was like, do I need to call the cops?
Oh yeah, he threatened to call the cops. Um, he thought she was a child and I was a predator.
Yeah.
Well,
So we get a lot of,
you kind of have the predator look.
oh
Oh, I
yeah.
can't deny, like visually, it totally makes sense. We'll also every time we come back, we go to Mexico quite often. It's one of
Oh,
our favorite
cool.
vacation spots. Every time we come back from Mexico, we get pulled for questioning and all that. I think
They think I'm getting
they
trafficked.
think she's getting trafficked. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
I'm really sorry to prejudge you that way then, Rihanna.
No, you're fine. I appreciate it, but definitely was not popular. Not popular at all. If anything, I was very much hated and was on a lot of hate lists. People did not like me.
Huh.
And that's why I love Lady Gaga so much. Like I'm a big Lady Gaga fan. Um, I've been to every single tour. That's why we were in Boston, was to go to a Lady Gaga show.
That's right.
Um,
Why
yes.
is
So
she Mexican?
no, she's Italian. No, but from a young age, I've been following her since 2009, and that was her
Okay.
whole thing was, this is a place for all the freaks. This is a place where, if you don't belong, like I'm the one. And Lady Gaga was picked on so much, so like in the media, everyone's calling her a freak and weird, and they don't like her outfits, and that was a big piece of what she said. She's like, "Well, I'm here to be the biggest freak, and no one will talk about you when I'm around." Um,
I like
so
that.
yeah, like that's she's always given me a home and a place to be surrounded by like-minded people that feel ostracized and left out.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, not the case, but I appreciate you.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Racism always just it befuddles me. It confuses the shit out of me, you know what I mean? So
Racism and just like normal things, like same thing with
uh-huh.
what you were bringing up about comic books. I just like musical theater. I just liked musical
Okay.
theater, and people thought I was a fucking freak. I was
Yeah.
a weirdo, just because I was like, "Let's watch Moulin Rouge," and they're like, "What is this? No, we're not watching Moulin Rouge." When I finally moved back to Houston when I was a sophomore in high school, it was a little bit easier for me.
Okay.
I went to a school with over 800 people, and I was a small fish
Mm,
again. So like that was a little easier, and I wasn't the only brown person. At that point, people just didn't like me for my personality.
that is impossible.
Well, I am a very abrasive person.
No way.
I've learned. I also am not afraid to speak out. So I'm just very. I don't think I'm obnoxious, but I am not quiet, and that either makes people uncomfortable or makes them mad because I have a tendency. I had a lot of girls not like me because guys liked me.
Ah, that makes
I took
sense.
attention away from them.
Yeah, yeah.
Girls didn't like me, and then guys liked me for a hot second until I talked back to them, and then they didn't like me anymore. So
Hmm.
you win some, you lose some.
Okay. And that's the glue that holds your marriage together, right?
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah,
yeah.
we're just two freaks who found each other.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's always what's important to your spouse. Is it more important to you or is it more important to her? Yeah, and if it's more important to her, just get her back, right?
Hmm.
Has she ever gone off the rails in a way that's embarrassed you?
Choose your words.
I
Uh,
had to dig him a little hole here.
I don't think that's ever embarrassed me. I think there's been times where like I have been like, is this energy you're putting into it worth it at this point?
Gotcha. Is this
Oh
fight
yeah.
worth it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've had to learn how to choose my battles a little wiser, but I don't think I've ever embarrassed
No,
you.
I don't think you've ever. We're both pretty quick to
Support.
get each other's backs and then ask questions later. I remember once we were at a
Yes. I love
Walmart
that. That's how I am, right?
and we were at a
Oh,
Walmart
and this was my fault. This was a
and
me thing.
we're getting out of the car. She's obviously getting out of the well, not she's getting out of the passenger side. We're obviously getting out of opposite ends. She gets out the passenger, and as I'm getting out, I hear her start screaming at somebody like immediately, and I just turn around and I start screaming at that person,
Nice.
and we're just yelling back and forth, and then finally it ends, and I think I said to Rhianna, I was like, "What were we yelling at him about? Like, what happened?" Turns out he did deserve it, though. He was littering.
Okay. Well, you don't understand this because tall people, they have all the privilege in the world, you know? But short people are ignored all the time, and we have to be louder so that people hear us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
I'm short too. And well, I'm 5'7", that's short. I get ignored at restaurants all the time because my friend is 6'3", and they'll just walk past me and go to him and ask what I want. And it just drives me
Oh yeah,
crazy. Why is that, you know?
that happens a lot, but with him, and I think it has a lot to do with just like Texas misogyny.
Hmm.
Uh, we've had people that like I'll ask a question and they will respond speaking to Adam.
Right. I've had
And
that.
and the way I pop off, and the way I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm over here. Like I get angry
You
and
have to.
I do. I get so pissed off when people do that shit.
Yeah. No, I get
Just
that. When you're
try me.
dismissed, no, screw you. Don't dismiss people like that. That happens to me all the time, and I don't understand why. People will talk to anybody else but me. It's like because of my visual disability, they think I can't hear. And so or that I can't comprehend, or some mental lacking this something in their brains thinks that I'm not smart enough to understand what they're saying. So they'll tell it to somebody else, and I hate that. Bullying, judgment. I was trying to find out like I had this idea for an episode called 12 Ways to Hate, and I wanted to drill down on why people hated. And I had judgment as my first one. People just hate because they judge things that they can't compare it to, like
Yeah.
you don't like somebody that's into cross-dressing, but you're judging it based on you, not them, right? What's best for
Mhm.
them? Cross-dressing is fine for them, not for you, but you judge it, and so you hate people because they don't accept your view. I'm still working on that episode. I'm sorry. We got into it. So what's it like in Texas? What's it like in your new neighborhood?
I love it. I love your tangents. It's still
Thanks.
it all comes together.
Yeah.
We're only like 2.5 miles from our old place, so we're no changes, to report back on. If
Okay.
anything, we're closer to some things we love,
Mhm.
and
We're right next to both a Buffalo Wild Wings and a Fiesta Market. So like, what more could
oh,
we ask for?
play, yeah,
Mm.
it's a good time.
What's Fiesta? Do you guys cook?
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
If we have the freedom, we'll cook like full. Usually we cook dinner, but it's usually pretty simple dinners.
Yeah,
We used to
That's
be
not
better.
fair. Yeah,
We
we've
used to
just
be
been
better. Yeah,
busy.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we've just been busy. So I used to work at Blue Apron. I'm not sure if you know what that
I
is.
do.
So I worked for Blue Apron for a while, and so we got free meals every week or
Okay.
discounted meals or something like that, crazy inexpensive. And so that kind of taught Adam how to cook
Mm.
because of those instructions, and that also taught me how to eat better. So that was great. And then when I stopped working there, we just figured out, how to put a meal together, and I have all those recipe cards like organized by protein. we still cook
Wow.
we still cook a lot of those meals that we had. But no, Adam can cook. He cooks really well. Um, we've just been so busy the last few months. But yeah, it's a lot of like Trader Joe's instant meals and simple
Mm.
pasta dishes, and you make a good hash.
Make a good
He makes
hash.
a mean hash. We eat a lot of hash and a lot of pasta dishes.
Hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, we will be the people that buy like the pre-marinated chicken and just throw it in the oven. So
Okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
yeah,
Mm-mm.
it's simple, but it's good. Do you
And
like to cook?
I I yeah, I like ingredients. I like the ingredients. Like, I don't know. I'm into fruit for this month for some reason. I can't get enough of fruit, cantaloupe, honeydew, strawberries, cherries, anything. I don't know why.
Love that for you.
Aw, is that banjo behind you?
It
That was
is, yeah.
banjo, yeah.
Hi, banjo.
Got him fully understanding who our animals are, and your mom can't tell them apart.
Your mom can't either. I
I
don't know.
was
Yeah, you did better than both our parents.
I was gonna start this show. Hello, welcome to Cat Talk.
It's
That's so
always
funny.
Banjo. He's definitely like an executive producer. He's always in the room. He always has
Right.
something to say.
Okay. What kind of equipment are you using to podcast?
We got the old Blue Yetis,
Mm,
and our computer, and that's kind of it. We'll do Audacity. I like if we're doing like internet, I use OBS to record a lot of times.
okay.
But it's usually pretty simple, basic starter level setup, but it works out
Yeah.
because I kind of had to too because we've got a friend of ours. He streams out of here and does a lot of like more YouTube stuff. So I kind of had to like get equipment that worked for both the podcasting and the streaming and the YouTube recording, and kind of had to find that middle ground.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. And which came first, Crooked Bunny or Bottled Up Bitches? Because these are
So,
two, you're both two separate entities joined together for this podcast, right?
uh, Bottled Up Bitches is under the umbrella of Crooked Bunny. So
Gotcha.
Crooked Bunny, the idea of Crooked Bunny came first. The idea of that kind of this production studio,
Oh no, tell them the origin story of what
Yes, the origin story.
like the name.
Well, yeah, Crooked Bunny was originally
It was
something
it was
else.
originally called Brawling Bunny.
Oh no, go back.
Ooh, I
Step
like
further.
this.
Oh, I don't know what you're referring to.
Crooked Bunny was originally a t-shirt company.
Oh, it was okay, you're going way back. It was originally a
Wow.
t-shirt company. In fact, we actually have a couple t-shirts that have the
I'm gonna go get
Crooked
it.
Bunny
I'm gonna go get it.
logo that I made, and it's actually the exact same logo that I use today, just a little zhuzhed up now. Good luck.
No, keep going.
Isn't that
But
cool?
yeah, so it was originally a t-shirt company, and then just that kind of got put on hiatus because I, had to work and got really invested into a new job.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was working there, I was like, I hate this job. I hate doing this. Like, I need to do something creative and all this. So
Yeah, yeah.
the idea of Crooked Bunny came, and the idea of it was these more YouTube, kind of more like sketch stuff, like video game stuff, more of like general production,
Okay.
and podcasts. I knew I wanted podcasts to be a part of it, and when Rihanna and the original co-host of Bottled Up Bitches, when they would be in the room together, I was like, these two are very funny. I was like, let's make this a show. Like, let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of out of ease of like, it's such a quick startup to do a podcast as compared to some of the other stuff I wanted to do.
Okay.
Bottled Up Bitches, it became the first production of Crooked Bunny.
Gotcha. But that was by happenstance because you just
It was kind of by happenstance. Yeah, I don't think it was ever planned out that way. It just kind of worked out that way.
that is so cool. I was under this thing called jar codes for a while, and nobody knew if my podcast was jar codes or the unsigned countdown. And it was the unsigned countdown by jar codes. Jar codes is the production company that will eventually make other shows.
Yes, yes. That's kind
Yeah.
of the conversations I have to have now for sure. Yeah.
Right.
And
Now,
it was funny because very early back in the day, she's kind of taken it over a little more because communication's not my strong suit. But when people would reach out, be like, "Hey, I want to be a guest on your show," she would always go, "Well, you'll have to reach out to Crooked Bunny for that," and it would just confuse everyone.
right. So let's see the shirt.
Oh
Love it.
yeah, I've got the shirts. I still
Cool.
direct them to you. I like them. I like having
Yeah,
a studio, and I also like it gives us an opportunity to talk about it first.
sure. Yeah, it does.
And if I want to say no, I put it on him.
Yeah.
Oh, there
Then
you
it comes to
go.
me going, you know what? I just don't think Crooked Bunny's not interested.
It's kind of hard to
It's
see,
really
but this
hard
is
to
an
see.
original. So this is an original design where it says bunny, which is me, and it's really faded, but there is a little nude photo of me, a little scandalous photo.
Oh yeah. I like that.
And it was kind of like, gosh, what is it? Kind of like circusy.
Yeah, it was supposed to be kind of like
The material has come off.
the material's fallen off. Yeah.
And then Adam designed these shirts for our wedding, our engagement, and it has our wedding logo that he designed. It says, "Till death do us part." And there he is. There's Adam as a little skeleton, and that's me.
Aw.
And then the back has the logo and our hashtag, which is Lewis in Love. And then that's the Crooked Bunny logo.
I love
And
that.
this is so good for the podcast audience and for our lovely host who is visually impaired.
Well, the people will be able to watch the video on YouTube,
Oh, good.
Okay.
eventually. Yeah. I
But yeah,
like
it's
that.
a good time. So Crooked Bunny was originally going to be a t-shirt company. But yeah, I think it was going to be Brawling Bunny.
It was originally Brawling Bunny, but whenever Crooked Bunny became a production company, and we started actually trying to set all that up, Brawling Bunny was actually taken already. And
Wow.
I don't think it was taken by a big thing. It was just another like a YouTube channel, and they had like 7 videos, and they hadn't posted in like 2 years. But I was like, ugh,
Mhm.
I'm not dealing with that.
Yeah.
So I sat down, tried to find other names, and Crooked Bunny came out of it. And I think I actually enjoy Crooked Bunny more than I do Brawling Bunny. So it
Yeah.
worked out.
I do too. And that's my first tip to all podcasters, by the way. Google search the name you want to use.
Yeah, yeah. Don't set anything. Luckily, I had thought of doing that before I set anything up, but definitely search around before you actually like make anything official.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We tried promoting a band called Cloud, and I was like, Cloud? Nobody's ever going to be able to find you in the search results. So they changed
Yeah.
their name to like something else just really boring. And I was like, you don't get it. And then they chose Woven Mother. And I was like, I like that. Woven Mother. Nobody's trying to be that smart.
Funny. Well, that's a big problem I have with podcasts. They'll reach out sometimes or be like, "Oh, we want to collab," and I'll look them up, and I'm like, "There's like 15 podcasts with the same name,
Uh-huh.
and they don't make their profile picture on Twitter the cover art of the podcast, so I really don't know which one is them,
That's
and
how
it
I
gets
feel.
so difficult." You know how many
Yeah.
happy hour podcasts there are? Happy hour, happy hour, happy hour, happy hour. I'm like, oh my God, there's so many happy hour podcasts.
Yeah, anybody could have looked it up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's the obvious name for every show for eternity if you're going to be an hour-long show. Happy hour.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
are
I thought
you
it was a cocktail thing.
I'm sure it's a little bit of both.
yeah, if
Oh,
you
I
get to
didn't.
drink and talk and record it. I wanted to make an app called the Party Podcast where you would just set your phone down and record the party and then it would upload to a site where other people were doing that and you could just listen to parties, you know? I thought that would be so cool.
That's fun.
That is
I
so
like that.
cool.
Yeah.
I love
probably
that.
I probably would have called it the Happy Hour Podcast.
I like the party podcast.
The Party Podcast. I just like that. Are you gonna change your are you gonna change your logo for next season?
No.
Thank you. Well, people they identify with the image like you were saying so much
Yeah.
that if you changed your picture, I wouldn't know who you were, you know?
No, I've thought about it a time or two just to I've been thinking, I was like, should we add Adam? Should we just make the logo bigger? I'm
Mm.
still there. The logo's still there, but we need to make a cartoon face of Adam. But I was like, no,
I don't
it's
think
about
so.
me.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, it's kind of like Conan Needs a Friend. Like his is the face on there. He's got Gorley and Sona on there, but
Yeah.
he's the host. I think it works that way. And I mean, the only reason we changed the logo in the first place was just like,
To dissociate from season 1.
yeah, it was just to like complete refresh between season 1 and 2.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, I know you were discussing it and I was like, I could see them maybe changing the color per season, but the logo is just so perfect. And who did
No.
that? Who designed that for
Paid
you?
cash money for that, so I'm not changing it easy.
Okay.
Winston Gambro. Winston Gambro did the art for it. He has also done a few other.
There's a lot of comic books.
He does a lot of comic books and graphic
illustrations.
novel
Yeah.
illustrations. He
Very
did-
talented man.
Yeah, there is someone on Twitter. I don't know if you follow. It's like Pepper MD.
I think
He's
I
like a
do.
mullet. Yeah, he's got like a mullet, and he's kind of like trailer trash, and that's his thing. He posts a lot of like random NASCAR things, and
Okay.
when he reached 1,000 followers, he posted like a slow motion video of like his bare ass, like like a weird, like that's his aesthetic is like this trash dude, and
Yeah.
he recommended him. He has a podcast. I don't remember what it's about, but it has a comic book logo, and he was like, I like the artist that did ours, and he recommended him, and that was perfect because I liked. We were going for kind of like a 50s
That kind of pop art like
comic
look.
book
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. All right. Well, I feel better about that now. If you change, I change my logo every season, but we do 100 episodes a season, so I get bored of it.
That's fair. Yeah.
We're only on we've only recorded 30 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Wow, I feel so invested. You guys feel like family to me, you know? Like I've just like I know you, and I think that's something that happens with podcasts. Do people get too familiar, Rhianna? Do they come at you like they know you? Do strangers just come at you like they know you?
I wish they would.
Okay.
No, they don't.
Okay.
No, I can't ever keep up with I think the people that interact with me the most would be to people on Twitter, and I don't think they actually listen to the podcast, which
I
is
don't think
fine.
anybody on Twitter listens to the podcasts. I
No,
really
so like,
don't.
so they don't. The people who do are the ones that have reached out about season 1 changes. I've had a lot of people reach out and go, "Hey, like, hang in there, you're doing great." Like, I've had a lot of support, and those people I do feel like we've had a lot of people email us
Mhm.
too about different things like that, and that makes me feel like they know what's going on, that they're
Cool.
invested. But yeah, the people that interact the most, Now, did you see my Twitter post the other day where I was trying to look for the bots?
No.
I made a Twitter post. I was like, I'm tired of all the bots on here, so I'm not
Oh,
asking
I did see
for
that,
podcast
right.
recommendations. And then the people started flooding in with just like, check out my podcast. And I was like replying with just like, you're out. Like I was just calling people out.
That's
And
cool.
a lot of those people like blocked me.
Well, good. You don't have to deal with them again. I
Yeah,
always,
I
I
thought that
always,
was so funny.
I just tell people if you want to follow a podcast, just follow the hashtag podcast, and
Yeah.
find new episodes. There's a hashtag called podcast recommendations I use on almost all of my shows.
Well, there you go.
But yeah, I try to listen to a different podcast every week and then promote it. I like promoting the shows, indie shows that, and they just don't seem to understand that I'm retweeting for engagement. I'm retweeting so that they'll be like, "Hey, yay," and start a conversation. I don't know what the issue is. Is there any good ways you found to promote a podcast?
Trailers. I like our trailers. I think they can cause conversation. Our latest trailer talks about how my dad called me sexy growing up, and
Huh?
that's caused some conversation for sure.
Okay. Where are these trailers at?
They're on Twitter. They're on Instagram and Twitter.
Okay, Instagram and Twitter. That's what I was leading into. Where can people find you?
Yeah, Instagram and Twitter. They're pinned. Both our trailers are always pinned on each account. So
Ah,
they're always the first thing that you see, which is so funny because they're always the least interacted with. People will interact with me all day long, but if it's hey, an episode is released, they don't
uh-huh.
touch it. They're like,
Yeah, that's
Only
weird,
there can
right?
only be one winner. And I'm like, we're not even in the same genre. Like people that listen to me may not listen to you. We're different, or they might listen to both of us because we're different.
And it's so funny
It's
because
so
we don't
funny.
have time slots as podcasts. It's not like in the network TV days or like
Right.
which show at 7 p.m. on a Sunday am I going to watch? Like
Yeah.
we may have a release date that we keep consistent, but I couldn't care less when you listen to it.
Yeah.
Right. That's
Very funny.
interesting.
All of our Twitter posts will have anywhere between like 20, 50, 70 likes. And then our trailers have like 6 likes. People don't want to interact with our release posts, which is very funny to me.
Yeah. There's a there's
They're
a
just
s-
going to hate.
there's a certain group of podcasters that like the network feel, being a part of a network. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to use any names, but those podcasts promote a lot, but they don't promote outside of themselves. I like being an indie podcaster. Like I like working with you all. We're not in a network together, but you're more than welcome to be on my show,
Yeah.
and I'll
Yeah.
definitely promote good conversations. I'm not going to promote true crime shows. That doesn't fit into my thing. I'm about open conversation. You're about open conversation. Audio Pong is about open conversation. And like they started laughing because I kept mentioning you in the in their episode. Bottled up bitches and Audio Pong and Adam, and they just were laughing because I don't think they heard your show yet.
That's so funny. Yeah, I've had some people reach out because I want our Twitter, although like we'll promote the podcast literally like once a week.
Yeah.
I want our Twitter to be a community and a conversation, and I want it to be like a solid, like just girly things, sex and girly things. I want people to follow whether they listen to the podcast or not because they just think our tweets are funny or they like interacting with us. I want them to be conversation starters. So
Yeah.
we've had people reach out and they're like, "Hey, will you retweet my new episode?" And I have to tell them no. I'm like, "I'm sorry. I don't do that. I
Hmm.
will like it. I will like it. I'll engage with it, but I'm not going my feed is not going to be filled with other podcasts. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to create a brand." And
Right.
I,
Yeah,
you
you have
know,
to fit in. You have to fit into the branding, right?
and I also don't listen to a lot of these podcasts. So like, what if they're racist? Like,
That's
what if they say
true.
what if they have questionable content? I don't listen to all of their content. I'm trying to protect our brand. I'm trying to also represent Crooked Bunny. And, people have questionable opinions, we've learned. We have listened to a podcast or two of people who wanted to have us on theirs.
Okay.
And I was like, well, let me listen to an episode. And they immediately said some questionable things. And we were like, okay,
Yeah,
no,
we're good.
no,
No,
we're
thank
good.
you.
Do your
Interesting.
research.
They do your right. Okay. I'm really sorry about that. I get those tweets too. Promote me, and I always say you you promote me. That's how you get me to that's how you get me to promote you, right? Like retweet one of my things and then I'll go to your page and retweet your pinned thing. That's how Twitter works.
Yeah, you have to give a little. And
Yeah.
I think people recognize that we do decent. We do have hundreds of listens a week. And I think people understand that. I kind of stopped posting about how many listens we get because I feel like people almost don't want to interact with you if they know you're successful or you're doing better than them. They're like, well, they don't need help, or I'm not going to interact with them because, however feelings that they have. Um, but we'll have people reach out to us to be on the podcast and they've never listened to an episode.
That's
So
interesting.
again, I'm like, do your research. What if I have values you don't agree with? What if I'm a
Right.
racist?
What
Like,
if you are, yeah, what if you're a
yeah.
racist? Are,
What if I'm a questionable human and you don't know? You just see that we're doing well, so you want to be on for clout. And
mm-hmm.
I don't play like that. You don't know my first name, which is in my Twitter bio. Uh,
I did see
this
that
is going to
tweet,
be
yeah.
insane.
I
That
only
was
know you
insane.
I know you by your podcast. Then you should know her name.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this person yeah, there was like, no, I've never listened. And there was a lot more of that interaction that I didn't show. Uh,
That's what I
with
was trying to get at. Do you just kind of get creeps coming your way? That's was always my
idiots.
concern when I podcasted with women was maybe you should use an anonymous name because there's a lot of creeps out there, you know? That's what I
I
wanted to
think
know.
it was worse season 1. Season 2,
Yeah.
not as hardly as many creeps, just idiots, just people reaching out, being like, "I don't know you, but you have a lot of followers. Can I be on your show?" I'm like, "No."
No.
And I think that was one of the good things about like the season one, like we talked about it before. Season one really it drew in a crowd that we didn't want, and that's where they got a lot of the like creepy messages.
Yeah.
And then once the season one transitioned and even had that episode explaining everything, those creepy guys were the ones reaching out to be like, "Oh fuck you, how dare you!" Like telling us what terrible people we were, and we were like, "Sayonara, like this is working out really well." Like, and so we haven't had that kind of toxic fellowship,
Yeah,
following
following.
that
Yeah,
we had as much.
I had
and
somebody
that's just
reach
oh, go ahead.
out to a partner and they said maybe you shouldn't work with Public Access America. They hate white people. And I was like, "Thank you. That is like one of the best compliments ever, you know?"
Yeah, yeah,
I was learning about Black history then, and I was really mad at white people. You know? I was
sure,
like, what the fuck are you doing? So I appreciated that, but that's about the
yeah.
only thing I ever got was this misguided racism to where people thought I was a black man that hated white people. That happened for a few months, you know? But,
So funny. Yeah, I feel like if someone was like, don't work with Crooked Bunny, they hate white people, I'd just respond with like, well, I'm not a fan.
right.
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong. They have aspects that are okay. Uh, so just to be clear, Rihanna, you have the Bottled Up Bitches Twitter, and Adam, you have the Crooked Bunny Twitter.
Yeah,
Mhm.
at Bottled Up Talk for her, at Crooked Bun for me.
I love that. Okay. And then you're looking to create new podcasts, or are you just looking to create a better studio and settle and do all that?
So yeah, I mean, we were on hiatus for the move and stuff, but we do have some stuff. We have a partner of ours, Roger. He does streaming on Twitch,
Hmm.
Do you
and
want to get Roger? Because this goes on YouTube.
no, not right now.
Is he unavailable?
Yeah, he's unavailable right
Oh,
now.
okay.
Um, I thought about that earlier,
I
but
think you could.
he's unavailable at the moment.
Okay.
We'll do something with Roger too. I like that.
Yeah. Well, here we go. Because he does a lot of YouTube stuff, Twitch stuff, mainly more in the video game nerdy
He has a
sphere,
podcast.
and he has a podcast with another great great YouTuber and streamer called Sweet Gaming, but their podcast is called Fright.web. So that's already out. It's been on hiatus for a while. There's a few episodes out, but if you like internet horror and stuff like that, they talk about that. And all that will be ramping back up here pretty soon.
I love internet horror. Jeffrey wants to talk about one of his favorite horror games, and I just can't do it because I don't play video games, you know? So I'm looking for somebody to do the history of, it's not Project Callisto, but it's one of those mainstream horror movies or ones that are coming out. Dead Space
Dead Space.
Remastered.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm looking for somebody to connect and just so Jeffrey can geek out. When you have a co-host, you have to make them happy, Adam. You know what I mean? You just have to
I
do those
agree.
little things ahead of time to make her smile. That's all.
I agree. Yeah, I'll talk with Roger. Maybe you guys can come, or you or Jeffrey, or y'all can come on and talk about internet horror with them.
I love that.
They just did a whole series on "Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared." So
I want to be hugged. Nothing. Somebody asked, "What's the best feeling in life?" And I said a hug from the perfect person. You know.
Oh.
Well, it's true. How many people actually give good hugs that you remember? You know. I love hugs.
That's true.
yeah, probably not a lot.
Probably not.
There's only
a
one
lot.
person I hug. So
Yeah, I was gonna say Adam doesn't touch anyone, so.
No one. You like your personal space.
yeah, I don't like to touch people.
It's a
Yeah.
whole thing when he goes to the dentist or gets his hair cut. His
Okay.
body is twitching.
I don't like touching arms like on an airplane or in seats, a movie. No. Ugh. Men are so hairy. Rhianna, men are so hairy. It's gross. I don't know how you deal with it. I mean, you have an awesome beard, you have awesome hair, but we have this hair on our arms and stuff, and then I just don't want to touch that. Ugh,
I
gross.
like hair though.
Yeah,
I love
you're
hair.
talking to the wrong
You're
person
talking to
on
the
that
wrong
one.
person. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can't stand a man that doesn't have hair because I'm like, I don't
Wow.
want a naked mole rat. I also don't want to be hairier than my partner.
Good point.
And I'm very Latin and I have a lot of hair. And yeah, I don't like a Ken doll. I like a man that looks like he can build me a rocking chair. I don't
I
care if he
like
can or
that.
not. There's not going to be a test, but I like the look.
How many rocking chairs do you own, Adam?
Well, we had to move, so we got rid of about 5 of them. So there's still about 3 or 4 in the house.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
He bills me one a year.
One a year.
Just to prove he still can.
Yeah,
right?
I gotta. Yeah, I have to re-up my application every year.
Yeah. It's right
Man.
next to the rocking horse.
Wow, I like
I was
that.
feeling real confident that year.
How many rocking whores is there?
Just the one.
Just the one. Yeah.
Just the one whore. Sorry. I really appreciate you guys being here.
Oh, I appreciate you having us on.
Thanks for having us on. It's always you're one of my favorite people to talk to.
Oh, you're part of our family, you know. I love that. So people, when are you going to start season 3 then? Well, people can binge season 2. That's the great thing about podcasts.
Exactly. We're on a little bit of a break just so we can get our feet under a season break. But I think we're going to relaunch sometime in October. If I had to guess, it's going to be mid to late October.
Ooh,
just to give us some time. I know we're going to have to because I want to do. I think that'd be a great time for us to interview our horror actress. Would be for Halloween.
I like that. And maybe you can do some kinky live stream thing with people in role play costumes. I like that.
Oh.
You're so lucky with the format that you picked, you know. It's so rich with content. So being sex positive is something that is so individual and people take so personally and they still want to share it. So you're so lucky. I'm lost in my genre. I just try and cover everything, and now I just don't have to cover all of that stuff because I can send people your way.
We're happy to help alleviate the load.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Now I'm stuck with politics.
That's a lot though, that you will never get bored. There is always something going on with politics, whether it's historical or new.
Yeah, I just think people don't see it the right way. I don't understand why people are racist towards a beautiful woman like you when they can just ignore you and go on with their lives. Like I always say, if you're going to be racist, instead of hating somebody, bake a pie because then at the end you'll have pie, you know?
That's the way to go about it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I hope we all work together for a better good. Is there anything you wanted to get out there before we wrap up? I know you guys got stuff to do.
No, you went over our Twitter handles. You can find us on Instagram as well at Bottled Up Bitches. You can send us an email about your sexcapade at bottleduptalk@gmail. And yeah, you went over some of yours. Do you have anything?
Yeah, no, just check out on YouTube, on Twitch, and just check out search for Crooked Bunny, and hopefully, and not hopefully, this next week, all that's going to start ramping up, and Roger's got some really cool, interesting things. If you like gameplay videos, go check those out. They're not going to be like your stereotypical one. He's really doing some interesting stuff over there.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you for being here, guys. And thank you, everybody, to listening to the latest episode of Public Access America. Once you're done subscribing to Bottled Up Bitches, then come back and listen to more episodes. Yay.